Going on, everybody? This is Rick Del Santo. You're listening to Pro Wrestling Wire Radio here on Helix Rock Radio. That's rockradio.live, AIWF Network, and of course, all across the board Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you find your podcast. Of course, joining me as always on a weekly basis is Uncle Otis. Otis, how's it going?
I'm doing good, thank you. And yourself?
And of course, I'm doing fantastic. We have a very special guest in Ashley,
Hi.
owner promoter of Kaiju Pro Wrestling. What's going on, Ashley? This is your second time here. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It is nice to be back. It is nice to be able to do things over and over again, much like having a wrestling show next Sunday.
Yes.
Yes, that is August 25th, Bristol, Connecticut. This is a big event, and from what I understand, you posted recently that this will be your last show of the year.
Yeah. It's a very worthwhile decision. We had a very sudden and tragic loss within the company last week. One of our co-founders and one of our owners, who was on a little bit of a hiatus, was involved in an accident on his way to work and passed away. And with that, we're kind of taking the lesson of we need to spend a little bit more time on ourselves. And I mean, we've been pushing this company pretty hard for 2 years. Everybody knows I've been pushing this company myself for 2.5. So it's just exhausting. And we would normally have the show in November. And last November was really hard for him to not be there. So we kind of just decided, maybe instead we have a plan. We're going to do an episode. We are going to put some content out. Mostly because this show next Sunday is a closing of a lot of our storylines that started with us. So, things change, but for us, it's going to be a good experience. We want to work on some side projects. I'm working on setting up, potentially a matchup in Montreal. So I definitely want to focus on those things too. So yeah, this will be our season finale, so to speak.
Let's talk about the Montreal a little bit. You're setting up something for there. Who's going there? What's happening with that?
Well, I mean, there's 3 sets of belts that are going to need to be defended for the next 8 months. So I am looking for promoters who want to have some champions together, put some belts on the line. In all honesty, listen, every one of my championship matches is a legitimate defense. I can tell them how I want it to go. It doesn't mean it's going to go that way. And I uphold it. So, that goes for other talent too. Start talking to your promoters. I'm all for it. And then if there's other promoters out there that want to do champions together, then I'm fine. Let's do it. Let's make it work.
Otis, what do you got on your plate today?
Well, first of all, I want my condolences to Kaiju and to you and those involved with you. But on a brighter note, back to this weekend or the weekend of the 25th, which, by the way, is at the Lincoln Room, folks, at 38 Barlow Street in Bristol. So beautiful, beautiful venue. I had the pleasure of being involved. I guess it was that back like maybe in March.
Mm-hmm.
And beautiful venue, folks. Plenty of parking. It's you really can't ask for a nicer place to see a show. And so kudos to you for retaining that, because you did say that I thought that I saw a post that you said you've locked that place in.
Yeah, it's even now, even with our break, it's still permanent. Anything wrestling wise goes through me. I broker the building.
And that's awesome, because, like I said, it really is beautiful venue, and I think that even though this may be a closing show for the year, it's a big one. It's a really big one. I was doing a little studying, going over the match card, and I'm very excited about coming to this show. Very, very excited. And the reason being is because there's many talent that I've yet to be able to experience watching. And there's a lot of talent that I have seen before. So it's going to be a real cool experience for me. And I think that it would be a real crying shame if people out there have the opportunity to go and they pass on this, because all across the board, venue, parking, the talent that's going to be there. I thought when I was there the last time that it was just an awesome show, and I just really think that people need to consider checking it out.
I appreciate that, Uncle
And
Otis, because that's I told you guys, when anybody in the industry gives me a compliment on it, I do take it to very high regard, because we're trained in this industry, regardless where you are in it, to be picky.
You have a very unique setting. Like, you do use some familiar talent with the area, but you use a lot of talent outside that are not necessarily familiar with the area as well. They're not used as commonly, I should say, which I
Yeah,
think
well, I mean,
makes for a unique experience. Yeah.
oh, absolutely. But that's part of what we built it on. That was one thing that was a big factor for both Skip and I, because we had 4 owners when we started, so everything was an equal vote. And Skip was one of those wrestlers that he really did have his heart in it, but he didn't seem to know how to push himself. And we've all met wrestlers that are like that. They're usually newer. So when we wanted to start a company, for us, it was about making sure we wanted to use the talent we wanted to use. And part of that was the scouting process. Like, people know when they see me at a show and I'm talking to you and I give you a handshake, you're probably coming to Kaiju. It's not because that's like the reputation I wanted necessarily. That was just how I would have wanted to be treated when I was managing and valeting and depending on what everybody calls it. But for me, it was like I did all the business, but nobody ever actually wanted to treat me with any kind of respect, because I wasn't physically in the ring, even though I handled everything else, right down to promos being made and edited. And so from the go, it was just nobody should ever have to feel like that. So a big part of it is going, hey, I have somebody interesting, or who do you want me to go look at? And I do actually set those matches. Like, on the bottom of my cards, it doesn't say card subject to change, because I booked that match specifically for that match. If I have to make a change, I'm most likely changing the whole match. And I know that's a little bit more work and it may seem kind of like extra, but that's how we do it. It's not just a match. I want it to be an experience. So again, Otis, thank you for that, because that's exactly what I want. I want them to walk in the room and have an experience with us.
What is it like for you as a woman in the business, not on the the talent side of it, but on we'll say the upper echelon, and running the show as a woman? Do you find it more challenging? Do you have, any kind of reservations, we'll say, when it comes to putting together a show? Because I mean, we know each other somewhat, and we've met several times, and I find you to be a wonderful, strong personality. And I think, and some men may be a little bit, thrown back by that. Shame on them, but they might be. And I was just wondering, how is it in the business being in that position? Do you just take it with a grain of salt, or do you kind of feel things out with each player, with each, situation when it arises? Or do you already have a game plan with stuff?
A little bit of everything, actually. So there's a couple of different factors to that. So one is the fact that I've been now doing it for 4 years. We started this company in 2020. I already had a business degree. So the business side of me automatically, so that part C, that, do I go in with a plan? I've always had some sort of a strategy plan in my head. There's plan A to usually W, maybe X, already cataloged and ready to roll. Okay, which one do we have? I get more off put when something sneaks up on me. So I'm like, I didn't think of that. And I usually do. I kind of let scenarios build, and I kind of tweak the plans to that. I always try to explain it as it's like a multiverse mentality. If a timeline shifts, I just go with it. So I do ride the wave based on what's happening. But I do generally have some kind of, okay, if this happens, we can go this way. There's a flow chart somewhere in there. There's a lot of erasing. Yeah, there's always, we can always fix something. There's a solution. I say it all day long at work. I work in customer service, and all day long I say, it's okay, there's always a solution to a problem. There always is. It's not always the one you want, but there's always a solution. There's nothing that's completely hopeless.
Right.
So I think in the beginning, though, because I wasn't such a strong personality, it's always been me. I think it was once we started running last year and I finally said, you know what? Somebody asked me, I want to say before we ran the first show in Bristol, so before November, somebody asked me why Dahlia had to be GM, and I said, well, that's who they picked. I didn't want to do it, but it was to build my confidence as a promoter. And people were like, well, then we don't need Dahlia. We need you to be Dahlia. And I was like, oh, because it was really just me with confidence. So I was like, you know what? Fine. And so now I don't let people put me in the small box anymore. And I think that's when people get scared, is when they realize what happens when you try to put me in the small box. I stand up straighter. It's like when when you see the tough guy being a tough guy at the bar, and then the other guy they're picking on stands up and they're another 1.5 feet taller. I know, I do the same thing. I call it peacocking, and I do it. But it's because I don't show that strong side unless I feel like the business side of me has to come out. And that's the part people get scared of, because she knows what she's doing. She's the confidence. So on show day, I'm glowing. I know that. I already have my dress hanging up. It's steamed, ready to go. Let's go.
Rick?
Is
I'm
Dahlia going to
drinking.
be making a return at this show?
Not at this one. In the future, I am going to be working on some side projects where she'll be interacting as the GM for KPW. But those are going to be, special guest appearances, and same thing with Blackthorn. Like he's retired. I'm like Dahlia. We kind of never really retired her. She just stopped showing up. So I'll save her for special occasions. But on the KPW show days, I really just want to be Mama Kaiju and enjoy it. All my hard work.
Okay. I noticed that a lot of the people that come to the show, they have a lot of respect for you too, because there was like a Mama Kaiju chant for like 3 solid minutes. And I thought that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen something like that before. So that was cool. I'd really like to talk about the show coming up itself, some of the matches and stuff. I'd like to talk about the whole card, quite frankly. I've got it written down.
It's a huge card.
It's an enormous card.
I do have the listing in front of me. Yeah. Sorry.
What's very cool about this is literally every single match except one is some sort of a tag match. Every match. And I've never seen that before. So if we may, I'd like to talk about, a lot of the talent, like I said, I've never had the pleasure of watching before. I'm going to start right at the top. We got Abs and Stan Styles going up against the Crocodile King, Alan Compass and Pete Corvus.
Yep.
I have seen Alan wrestle many times. Rick and I, we're good friends with the Crocodile King. Pete Corvus, I got to see wrestle at your last show that I went to in March, if I'm not mistaken. This is quite a pairing. I've never seen Abs and Stan Styles. I'm not familiar with them.
So CWO runs a lot down in New Jersey. And Abs, side note, also runs with Social Influence in the group Genesis. So Abs is a very, very versatile wrestler. So the big thing is with, Stan got defeated by Tiffany. So he did not dethrone her out of Candyland, like he said. Matter of fact, she took his shake weight. So, that's, her souvenir from his loss. But he did honestly demand another opportunity. And I did put in that open casting into the talent portal and say, listen, whoever has a tag team, you have a shot. I make it very well known. Kaiju is fluid. So he said, okay, well, if I can't have another shot at Tiffany's belt and there's a line for Corey's belt, then I'm going after the tag belts. And he threw an offer at me, and it was a very good one. So I said, oh, you know what? Abs is on my little list of who to bring in. So I was like, you know what? He picked somebody off the list, so let's go. And honestly, Pete Corvus, I have not put him through a tag match yet, but he is still trying to go for a potential spot with Corey Jackson. And honestly, if he wins this one, he's going to get it.
Well, I hope that Abs and Styles know that it could be a 3-on-2, because if Alan Compass brings Frank, they're in trouble. Because Frank has...
Absolutely. I'm kind of hoping he does.
Yeah.
This Creamy World Order guy, man, he's like invading everywhere. So listen, if I need to get, if he loses, then I can, if he tries to say, can I come back again? I could give him a hard time. So, I'm bringing in, when Corvus was like, listen, all right, fine. If I have to get one more win under my belt, he didn't want to wait till November. I said, all right, fine. Let's put you in a tag match. Fine. No problem. Well, who am I going to have? I'll find you somebody. And I'm the one who went to Alan Compass. I ran into him in Bristol when he was there for OWF before they moved. So I, talked to him, and I said, listen, I might have a potentially great match. And when I pair their footage, they work well. So guess what? I put it together, and then the flyer came out, and it was even more perfect. And I was like, literally, my promo shots, they look like they were together. I'm like, this is a dream. So I have faith in Corvus. He is a very talented wrestler. I know I put him through a lot, but it's because I have a lot of faith in him. So we're going to see what happens next Sunday. And if Pete can get to that win, he gets his title shot.
All right. Next match I've got here, Live Danger. Now, I've saw these two gentlemen wrestle in singles matches when I went to an ECPW show this summer. Livewire Charlie and I can't quite remember the other gentleman's name, the blonde.
Yes, Rossi.
Yes, Rossi. He and Livewire Charlie, a lot of fun to watch, I thought. I'm a huge fan of Livewire, so I'm excited about this match. And them going up against Social Influence, who Rick and I have seen wrestle. Rick's probably seen them wrestle a dozen times more than me, if maybe more. I don't know, but they're some favorites of mine too. They're pretty cool, and apparently this is going to be a match for the KPW tag belts. Is that correct?
Yes. So this is going to be their first title defense. Really, what better way to finish off there? It's actually the main event. So yeah, that's also a big deal. I know, because most places don't make a tag defense a main event, but what better way to end the first round of our tag tournament, which is going to be giving us our direction for the entirety of next year. Why not celebrate their first win? Or we're going to have new defenders, and that's 8 months of us planning, another story set. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But either way, it's supposed to be one very electrifying way to end the night.
Yeah. Next match I've got written down here is two of the professor and mine favorite, Daje Simone and Dan DeMann. We love both of them. They're great talents, and they're going up against a team called Dragonheart. Why don't you tell me about those guys, or those two folks? So
Dragonheart have never been up here before. So that's consisting of Valentina Vasquez and Boom Harden. This is a new gimmick that they are launching. So this is something very new for them, a new aspect, but they have been wrestling together under CMD down in the Philly-ish area. So they are two very talented people. I've seen Valentina wrestle a few times. She's a queen on the mic too. So between her and Daje, and then we've got Dan the Man. Come on. I have a whole bunch of voices going on in this. We're not going to need microphones. Mm-mm. We're going to hear them, all of them. I can promise. And Boom is an incredibly brilliant wrestler. He's doing fantastic, and he does work very hard. So he had been looking for his spot, waiting for a long time. When the tag division opened, he was like, hey, by the way, I am starting a new tag team with Valentina. And I was like, well, lucky for you. Sounds like, I have a match to make, because I was at that time looking for an opponent for essentially Dajay and Dan DeMann, because
Right.
I wanted that. I wanted that match to happen last show, but it was Mother's Day, and I know that was a hard day for people to get booked. So a lot of the things that were set up for this show were based off of the availability from the last couple of shows. So yeah, this was one that I've been kind of jonesed for. So like finding a spot for it on the card, I wanted to put it in like the perfect place. So I'm hoping I did.
Manipulation going up against Big Juicy and Mr. James. Now, Mr. James, he's a favorite of a lot of people. When
Yes.
He's a ball of energy. He's a lot of fun to watch, and he's a crowd pleaser. He really is. And I had not seen. I follow Big Juicy on social media. However, I've never been to any shows that she's performed at. So I'm wondering how you feel about this matchup, because Manipulation, I don't know anything about them either. This is why
Okay.
I'm so excited. There's so many new for me. I'm like, I'm going to be like a kid in a candy store with my microphone and camera, and
No, I love that, because honestly, like, so realistically, Otis, I mean, come on, there's 30 wrestlers on this show. 30.
Wow.
15 of them are debuts for my company. So yes, it is a huge ratio. And I was taking into account the fact that November was going to be an anniversary show, so it was more storyline. So yeah, I mean, I said at the beginning of the year I wanted X amount of debuts. I had to get them in. But JC Storm and Vanity are the team of Manipulation, and it is a tag team that they have been working on for a while, and it's been really picking up. They are, I mean, you want to talk about kaiju, they are legit sirens. They're going to walk in and they're going to mesmerize everybody, and nobody else is going to sell merch, because they're all going to buy Manipulation merch, because these two songstresses are just going to come out and just dazzle everybody. That's what they do. Juicy and Mr. James, however, are literally the definition of like Sugar Rush child like locked in a candy store after hours. So it's going to go one of two ways. Either Big Juicy and Mr. James are just going to exhaust the heck out of Manipulation. Because, I mean, Juicy went against Tiff for the inaugural championship, and the two of them in the ring, and they are both literally sugar charged, like, was exhausting. I needed to sleep for 3 days after. So I'm fully aware that Juicy is probably, like, let's put it this way, I'm already pre-gaming for Juicy's appearance. Okay, I'm already pre-gaming. We're going for the diabetes. Wilford Brimley will make an appearance. His spirit will be in the locker room. But it's going to be one very sweet match, pun intended.
Pun intended.
So I'm very excited for it. I love having Juicy back. I like seeing her in tag stuff. She works very well with others. She's an amazing human being. So be ready for probably the brightest hug, and I mean that, the brightest hug. That's the only way to describe it from her. And Mr. James is just, I mean, I'm going to be more intrigued on how Manipulation is going to manipulate these two. Like, they're going to have to steal, like, Tiff's candy bag and come out in order to get these two to fall for their tricks. So I'm very intrigued on what's going to happen, too. This is one of the most fun matches I think I've ever made.
All right. Let's move forward. We got a few more matches real quick. Sweet Invincibility against a personal favorite of mine, Beasts of Chaos. Sammy Chaos she is a force to be reckoned with. So this is going to be I got a feeling this is going to be a real, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall match. I mean, it's going to be groundbreaking, literally.
Well, I mean, what's the name of the show, Otis? The Rumble in the Jungle?
Rumble
There's no
in the
Rumble
Jungle.
Blood. What sound do big monsters make when they're walking through the jungle?
Rumbles.
They make rumbles. So, no, I honestly, whenever Sammy is booked, I'm pretty sure the way I classify her match when I write it is I just call it a slobber knocker, and we just leave it there because it most likely means that's one that's going to get my insurance claim. So, my understanding is she wants that belt. She wants Tiff's belt. She's gonna want a shot at it, and I haven't given Sammy a singles match, so listen. I mean, I'm fair, right? If Sammy can take out Tiff, I mean, yeah, she can very easily approach me about giving her a singles match next year, and I'll have no issue doing it. So I'm always fair about that. And to be honest, I mean, Tiff's already doing double duty. So
yeah, I saw
Sammy
that.
has an advantage here. She does, but that's part of why Tiff was very adamant about, I'm going to participate in each show. The match with Night is because we didn't get to have that in March. So Tiffany's perspective was, well, I'm going to have 2 matches then. And I'm like, I don't like that. She was like, 1 defense and 1 tag match. Fair. Okay. You know what? Yep. Fair. That's fair. Okay. And so she picked Tommy. And honestly, he was on the list. So I was like, dang, man, this is why I don't give anybody the list. You notice this? Because they would just go out and get everybody. But no, he promised he's going to keep her safe. Please don't get my champ hurt. So Sammy and Kate are going to have to go through him. I hope he can keep them at bay because I don't want to have to, spend the next 8 months moving a belt again. Yeah. I don't want to have to take it off Tiff if she gets hurt. So I've made that girl promise she'll be safe, but I also know Sammy, and when Sammy wants something, Sammy gets it. So I will be the person to stare out on the sideline during that match because I'm probably gonna be ready to cry.
I'll bring plenty of Kleenex for you.
Thank you.
All right, we got Black and Yellow against Art of War. We're almost done here.
Yep. So this is a retribution match, actually. So there is a little bit of history to this. November of 2022 was the last time we had Art of War on our show. That was in Ansonia. That was our first show here in Connecticut. They faced the Titans, who was run by Skip Ballard, are now deceased. And there was talk in the locker room at that time about, Skip wasn't going to stop fighting that match until he was in an ambulance. So when I had agreed to bring Art of War back, it was with the understanding of, okay, well, let's make this happen, but please don't try to kill anybody. Can we not destroy anybody? Essentially, Black and Yellow it's taking the Titans' place, which is very, very sweet. So that is going to be a match in honor of Skip. Because this is going to be the retribution. I will say this, however that match goes is going to be based on how it's fought in the ring. But I have strong faith in Corey Jackson, and I have very strong faith in Ting Shea.
Corey's amazing.
Corey is amazing, and in all honesty, he knows what the Titans meant to us. So, I trust that he's going to give his 150% in that match, and that if he comes out for a win, it's going to be for Skip. So
good.
I can't wait to see how it goes. And it just really kind of sucks because we had this match planned prior to the incident, but it's kind of weird because it's such an important match now for the show.
I think the stars are aligned for that. I think it'll work out great.
Yeah, right. And now our buddy's going to be there watching it, and I hope I hear him just tell me how proud he is of them because So, on a side note, he actually helped me pick Corey and Ting when we originally scouted them.
Yeah, I saw Corey in March, and I thought that the kid. Well, I say kid. I've said this to Rick before. I call everybody kid because
I do too. I have talent that are older than me, and I call them kids. So.
All right. Next one. We've got Mike Skyros and Polar Effects. This is going to be the Trios Tag debut, which I think, kudos to you for giving this a shot because in the independent circuit, you don't see a lot of that because I would imagine, I don't know for sure because I'm still really green in the business, but I would imagine because it's kind of hard to set talent to where you're going to have those three people together all the time because they constantly are moving around and working. So, kudos to you for trying to do this, and I hope it really works out. But you've got Mike Skyros and Polar Effects going against Red Dog and Pure Ignorance. And I think I saw Red Dog at the March show.
You did.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Red Dog is on our roster full time. He's on the primary roster, so he is on the roster. Pure Ignorance technically isn't. So until they get brought in, which would be if they earn this match, if they win, then they would be invited into the roster, and they will have the one of the two top spots in the division. So essentially what we're going to do is over the next year, this is the debut of that trios division. And that is exactly it. It is very hard to find three people that can be at the same place at the same time. This is usually where stables start happening and it gets weird. We are going to try to keep it straight-laced and on the nose and build a division around it. And then if all goes to plan, then November of 2025, we already got the agreement made this morning. There would be brand new tag belts and brand new trios belts being crowned next November. So
awesome.
Heads up to my division. We've already decided if you guys can help us push it, we'll make sure there's beautiful gold on you guys, just like there already is on Tiffany and on Corey. Brand new gold.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and I saw Polar Effects back in March too. They're pretty cool. Couple of guys. Okay, last match for the Kaiju Pro Wrestling Phoenix Championship, which Tiffany Avatar is holding currently. And she's been your champ for a little while now. I got to see her at the what was it, the Tetsu show that you were at that I went to, and she's fun to watch. I don't want to say anything about your champion that but I kept saying to myself, I wish this girl would stop princessing and just go at it. Because I just know that underneath all of that glitz and glamour and cotton candy, that there's a brawler in there somewhere. And I got to see some of it. Yeah.
Oh, there is. See, the difference is, though, Otis, is you didn't see her on her home turf. You saw her in her first time showing off. Oh, I'm going to come look at the property and see if I want to add this to my kingdom. When you come into Kaiju world, I mean, you saw her at a show where she didn't even wrestle, and that girl still had the crowd electrified.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my house, I mean, there's a reason why she's the Phoenix Division champion. I mean, she's holding our Ultimate Championship. So this is her world. We just reside in it. But one thing you will see, and we do have the footage from the last show coming out. And we're going to try to put it out tonight. That way it gives time for people to watch it and get caught up from May. Watch her match with Stan Styles. You want to see how much she's a brawler? Trust me, she's a brawler. She gave him 1-2 in that entire match.
She's going up against somebody who I kind of like, the WBW Women's Champion Nahir Robles. So I'm kind of excited about seeing this match myself.
Well, it was great to be her Connecticut debut, even though it didn't get to be with Tiffany. Like, I mean, she did have a 5-on-1 match essentially. So I really can't complain. That woman did earn her first contendership to come back and have this match without a doubt. Nair is she's exploding, and it's because that girl puts in the work, which is a scary thing for Tiffany, because that is exactly why Tiffany is as strong of a position in her company as she is because she works really hard. So that's a lot of genuine competition going into this ring. And honestly, you know how I feel. I like to start off the night with, the top notch, and we're starting off with that defense. That is, I will leak this. That is the first match. So I promise, when I say the bell starts at 2:00, you want to be here at 1:30 to get your seat, because we're going to have possibly a pre-show going on. I haven't decided yet. just so that people can get warmed up while we're, getting everything ready. But 2:00, that first bell, Otis knows that first bell happens and the show is rolling. You will blink, you will miss. So definitely make sure 1:30 you're there.
Yeah, and I'm excited also because the professor is actually going to join me at this one. So
It's like a birthday present.
Yeah, it is for me too. I can't wait. Why don't you tell us real quick? I see here that tickets are $20 a piece, which is pretty much the going rate for, you know. Actually, I think that they're getting more than their money's worth because of the talent, how much talent you've got going on this time. And that's for age 7 and up. So kids under 7 are free, or is it a reduced price? They're free.
So kids under 7 are always free. And listen, I'll be honest, okay? I'm a parent. I'm 100% honest on this. If your kid is under 7, I don't want you to feel bad if your kid can't make it through the whole show and you have to leave. So I'm never going to raise the prices for kids under 7 because that's really stressful on a parent to say, hey, I want to take them and, I don't want to spend this money and have to leave. Listen, kids are always first. That is why I compensate. Our food is reasonably priced. Our merch is reasonably priced. You can bring your family to our event and not go broke. What I am working on in the future is a lot of parents send the kids to the show with like grandma and grandpa. I've seen that a few times and it's really sweet. So I am setting up on our ticket sales site in the future for 2025, they'll be able to pre-order their food and merch too, and I'll have it ready for them before the doors open. So
okay. Is there going to be food at the event?
Yes. So once again, we're going to have hometown pizza. So we have cheese and pepperoni pizza. Like I said, reasonably priced. We want you guys to be able to feed your family. Take the burden off mom if she wants to stay home and take that nap, or dad if he wants to stay home and take the nap while mom goes to the wrestling show. That's acceptable too.
Sure.
So of course we're going to have soda, water. I did actually speak with Mochi Donut down on Queen Street in Plainville. They have really awesome mochi donuts. They do Korean corn dogs. I actually have to post a picture. I bought one yesterday and it was so delicious. And they have like anime sodas and like the specialty, like,
now will it be a cash only situation with things like that, or do they have some sort of cash app or?
Right. So we actually take cash at the door. And at concessions. I do believe that Mochi Donut, the things that they're bringing, they do take cards, but we can accommodate if you have cash for them. We can accommodate that as well.
Okay. Now we could find Kaiju Pro Wrestling on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Are there any other platforms that you're working with currently, or?
We do have a TikTok. We are actually in process as of this show. It's going to start having regulated content on it. Luckily, I am very happy to announce we do have some people stepping in to help me with the social media management finally. Good. So we'll be able to get more content out a little bit more regularly. That way I have time to make the content and then they can go ahead and regulate it for me. So very excited for those expansions to our teams.
Awesome. The only other thing that I would really like for to pass on is if somebody wanted to sponsor Kaiju, either sponsor a match, sponsor the ring, or whatever, because we know that there's different tiers for sponsorships in the independent circuit. How can they do that?
Honestly, anything anybody ever wants to do with Kaiju, send us a message. Let us know. Whether it's a fan, we do offer sponsorships. The packages are actually completely customizable based on how much you want to spend. They all involve free seats. They all involve different perk levels too. If you have a business, we do it like Mochi Donut. They're coming to vend. And in the future, they may be sponsoring some of our wrestlers with special donuts made just for the event. So same thing too. If businesses want to come in and participate, just reach out to us. I'm more than happy to let people come down. It's always about, for me, it's the networking portion. I know we have lots of fans who would love to sponsor. I'm perfectly happy to do that as well. Typically, if it's a fan sponsorship, those usually start around $50. That's usually people's budget. It does include tickets. We try to include some merch. If you can't make it to the show, then what we can do is we'll get you an advanced link to be able to view the show since you sponsored it. If you do $100, which is usually for businesses, they also get free seats. They get to sponsor a wrestler. They get advertising for their company. They get social media shout outs. They get a promo shot at the show by whoever they sponsored. So like I said, it's tiered, but there's a budget for everybody. So we go down as like, we have some people that have asked us about quietly sponsoring for birthdays and stuff. So we'll get cameos for them. So things like that. We can do anything.
And where you said that they would just message you. Where would they message you at? On Facebook Messenger?
Yep, they can message any of the Kaiju social medias. All the messages for those come to us if they go to our link tree, which is on the primary link source on all of our advertising. So if they scan the QR code on any of the flyers, it will actually go to our link tree. Our email is there as well. So even as something as simple as if they go on the, I believe it's on the Facebook fan page, the Facebook Kaiju page, has our phone number too. So they could even text. Essentially just reach out. Let us know what you would like to do for Kaiju and we'll see what we can do together.
Well, I'm excited because I'm going to get to do some potatoes while I'm there.
I know, we finally get to tater with you.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait because, I love, I posted today actually that my potatoes are not interviews because some people look at it like, what kind of an interview is that? He asked one question and the guy they're not interviews. What they are is I'm a soapbox and all I'm doing is I'm giving the talent an opportunity to spout off, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't matter to me. And they just let me and whatever audience is tuned in, know how they feel about either a match coming up, the match that they just had, what their future. It doesn't matter to me. I am a soapbox. So I'm excited to go to Kaiju on the 25th and set up and meet some new people. And I got a feeling that the crowd is going to be good because of the size of the talent that you've got going on. And I might even do a little walking around in the audience and talk to some people. So it's going to be fun. So save me a slice of pizza.
You got it. You want pepperoni or cheese? We got both.
Oh, no, I love pepperoni, but it gives me the agita.
You're at Mama Kaiju's house. I got all the Tums, Gas X, Pepto, all in the bar right behind the pizza.
Oh, good. Because I'll probably take about 5 or 6 tabs before because pizza is my downfall.
Yeah, mine too. The boyfriend thought he would be funny the other day. He gets pizza and it's pepperoni, onion, and broccoli. And I look at him and was like, "You want me to go get the Tums now?"
Yeah, pepperoni does me in every time. My wife loves pepperoni pizza. Oh, yeah. But anyway, I don't know what.
She's a spicy number anyway, so it makes sense.
Did we cover all bases?
We definitely covered everything for the show.
I was talking to, as it's coincidental that as we were coming on air, someone that has been, I guess, slightly involved in Kaiju, it was just texting me, and the Beast Bull Dread was just texting me throughout the show, trying to say what's up. So, is he going to be involved at all in this show or any of that?
So he is still referee general. I haven't gotten to update the call sheet on the group because it's just been the longest week of my life. I actually had to go get my nails cut down because they were too long for me to type. And so I'm like trying to type all these messages out the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, and I get so frustrated I'd stop. So no, Bull is still our referee general. I have a big post to put out tonight for what I'm calling the Zebra Crew. So because we've got Bull is such a great human being.
He's part of the family here. Yeah, part of the Pro Wrestling Wire family.
He really is. And like, I even have a coworker that knows Bull from back in the day. And he came up the other day and he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to work on Jason Knight's ring crew with Bull Dread." And I said, "Bull Dread's on my roster." And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "He's still going." So he is somebody that he's irreplaceable. He's always going to have a spot on my show, whatever it is. Like, I know a big part of it is I wanted to give him a spot somewhere where he didn't feel like he had to wrestle. That way, if he decided to retire, it was okay. So I do want to be that safe space for him, but I know he would wrestle for me if I ask. So I do plan to eventually have him wrestle. I just don't know when yet. I'm working on it. I have some ideas.
I want to thank you, Ashley, for coming on, and I'm looking forward to joining on the 25th. My kids will also be attending, so I'm looking forward to that. My son is up here from Ohio. He's going to be here for another, let's say, another 3 weeks, actually a month, exactly a month. So he's going home September 19th, and he's trying to get in this last month as many wrestling shows as he possibly can. So he's looking forward to this one because it's
let him know
as
a former Ohio Wesleyan University student, he is welcome in my home.
He's a real good kid.
Yeah, he, every time we go somewhere, he helps out with the ring and cleaning up and everything else, even if it's just, he loves he figuring out the mathematics of putting together and breaking down a ring. He's a very bright young kid and great with his hand. So a lot of people really like him because of it. And, he helps out a lot all the time.
Well, it's Cindy's ring, so it'll be one he'll be willing to touch. John was usually a lot more protective.
Also, because he's like he is almost like the silent. He's quiet, but the kid smiles all the time, and that just he lightens up a room when he walks in because he's always smiling. So you're gonna love him.
I will, because honestly, like I have to say, one thing I will notice over the last year of running shows, and I don't care if this ever gets aired because this is completely honest. This is me being 100% transparent. One thing I will say from having run shows and being like the primary person in charge for the last 2 years, the things that I now see on show day and like my whole attitude, I'm so calm now. And it's really because like I finally found the groove of like Kaiju feels like ours. Like it doesn't feel like mine when I walk in the room. It feels like ours. So it feels like every person in that room, the crowd, the talent, whoever the vendors are, it feels like every when I talk about it, everybody wants to be there. And I know it's because when they come in, they feel the love I promised. So like live events are never going to be a permanently stopped thing for us. I don't think. We just want to start getting other places to feel that too, because it's such a great feeling. It makes the talent so happy. So I want to start spreading the Kaiju love at other places and like letting it grow. You can't grow a garden without planting seeds. So trying.
Well, you're an awesome energy, actually. You really are.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to know you. So we're gonna have fun on the 25th.
Oh yeah, we are. There's pizza and donuts.
Doesn't get better than that.
Two of my favorite foods. Maybe is there going to be beer, pizza, donuts, beer? Maybe no.
So funny thing is that I know everybody's starting to run at breweries. I don't run at breweries because we're actually a sober, safe event.
Oh wow.
That
bad
is
for me now.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, listen, there's a bar down the street. Okay. There is technically a bar in the building. It's just locked. We don't use it. But no, I wanted to provide a sober, safe environment because I know, especially in Bristol, there is a lot of that issue. And I'm over a decade sober. So
bless you.
To me, it made sense to try to offer a safe environment, and alcohol is one of the easiest substances to get carried away with. So we just decided that if we were going to really truly be family friendly, we were going to stay away from alcohol too. So we did.
Awesome. Okay. Great to hear. Well, I want to thank you, and I want to thank you, and I hope everybody that's listening in the area. I know we're on air in Pennsylvania and they're all around the world. So if anybody's in the area, I really hope that you guys will be there Sunday. Stop by and say hello to me, Otis. Otis will be the Otis, and come by and say hello. We will be there having fun and watching good professional wrestling. Support your independent wrestling. That's what's very important out there. Support those guys. They are the backbone of the professional wrestling industry.
100%.
All right. Thank you very much, and we'll be back shortly.